Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. This is Brandon.
And this is Jared.
And welcome to our Year in Review 2013 video.
You know, every year we always have our little pet favorite action figures that come out during that time. And there's always going to be those figures that kind of don't get lost in the cracks. And they're going to be figures that we talk about for years to come. And it's so hard to just choose one to represent the year when there's so many great releases. And for me, there were several that really defined this year in toy collecting. And I think that we'll each do a top three.
Yeah,
so
sounds good.
I'll start with number 3. For me, it was the DC Collectibles, or DC Entertainment, whatever you'd like to call them, DC Direct. Their new 52 Swamp Thing action figure. Beautiful action figure. Super big.
You're an angel.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite comic book stories of 2012 when Scott Snyder kind of remade Swamp Thing in the image of this kind of nature warrior. Really beautiful, great story. So happy to see this become an action figure just a couple of months ago when I was able to get this. Pretty pricey, but you get what you pay for. It's made out of super high quality materials. 100% brand new sculpt that will never be able to be used again. You have these incredible posable wings. Lots of great articulation and a superb amount of detail. Let's get another look at that. I mean, it's pretty much like a really nice statue, only you can play with it.
Yeah.
And just a huge accomplishment for DC Entertainment. To see them be able to pump out something like this, it makes the sting of losing those DC Universe classics just so much less.
It really takes a lot of the punch out of it.
Yeah, you know, to say, you know what, they can, if they want to, you know, and if they put the time into it, and if you're patient, they can actually put out stuff that blows away a lot of the stuff that Mattel come out with. So this was a huge bright spot for me, and my number 3 best action figure 2013.
For my number 3 spot, I'm going to be going with Dark Knight Returns Batman from Mattel, from their Batman Unlimited line. I think it's a good way to say goodbye to 6-inch DC figures. This is obviously a version of Batman that we've been hoping for from Mattel for a long time. So he's just really glad that they could get it out practically at the last minute. As you can see, it's just a terrific likeness to this comic book story. You get a big, bulky Batman. One of the big advantages of this Batman is, of course, that he's built off of the buck pieces from the Masters Universe Classics line. So here's your... Even if you don't like the Dark Knight Returns comic book story, you can say this is your Batman to go with your He-Man toy line, which is terrific. Just, you know, the best... likeness to the comic. You know, the face is done correctly, the size is perfect. They get the bat symbol right. Batman appears in varying different looks in the book, but this is the most iconic. I think this is what people will see and immediately know, hey, that's Dark Knight Returns Batman. That's the big, powerful Batman. You know, just a big piece of wish fulfillment for me, really, too. DC Direct had done a figure a few years ago. It was really nice, sculpted very well, but it was not very posable. It certainly had some issues, and this is a big improvement. So this would be my number 3 pick for 2013.
Great choice. So for 2013, probably my absolute second favorite action figure to come out will probably be a controversial choice to a lot of people, but I just can't help myself because from the moment I saw it, I was just overwhelmed with how cool it was. And that's the King He-Man action figure. It was the subscriber exclusive. I didn't subscribe, so I ended up paying like $80 for him when he first came out. Yeah, that's a little crazy, but at the same time, to me, it was worth it. Especially not have to fool with a subscription all year. But, I mean, really just an incredible action figure. I know that most people were thinking to themselves, another He-Man, you know, gotta buy in for another He-Man. Well, I never really understood Masters fans who don't like He-Man, since he sort of is the main character. I've always been a sucker for variants of the main character, different costumes.
When they're applicable.
Yeah, when they're applicable. You know. And for years, Brandon and I have kind of speculated about He-Man becoming, you know, growing into the role of King and what that would be like. And for years, we always just wanted to say, well, he's King He-Man. Yeah. You know, we kind of would throw that around.
Yeah.
Well, he's King He-Man.
It's a term we've exchanged with each other for a long time.
It's kind of a joke, but we sort of want to see it. And in my mind's eye, I couldn't have come up with anything, you know, quite this cool, I don't think. But I'm just crazy over the concept. The electronic power sword, which is withered and decayed and rusted over. Just incredible. The scar on He-Man's eye, the longer hair, the beard, the cool costume, which kind of pays homage to King Grayskull and Hero especially. I mean, it's just lovely, all of it. And it just set my imagination on fire when I saw it, you know, just thinking, oh, you know, here's He-Man after the new adventures. You know, this is what he might be like.
Yeah, I think the big strength of this version of He-Man of the design is that it manages to be simultaneously futuristic and more barbaric. There's something very brutal about him, but something very classy and, you know, stylized. It's really
absolutely
a great balance of the design.
To me, this figure epitomizes what Masters of the Universe Classics could be. I know a lot of people don't like it when they get away from the classic figures and the originals and all that. I don't care. To me, this is more exciting.
Yeah, if they're going to make up new characters or new concepts, this is what I
this is what to do. But definitely my number 2 favorite action figure of 2013.
When I was thinking of my top 3, I was trying to cover the brands. You know, I don't, you know, if you like what you like, and I didn't try to, you know, cover all the bases necessarily, but, you know, one of my big favorite brands of all time is Transformers. You know, there was a time when I was practically a completist, and I've not collected as much, but this year I got back into it pretty heavily, and one of my very favorite figures for Transformers and in general for 2013 is the new Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Shockwave. I'm a big fan of Shockwave, going back to the G1 cartoon and the G1 comic books. I have been since I was young, and when I was a kid, my brother had the G1 Shockwave figure, and it was one of my big favorites. I love the design. There's something, you know, so evil about him. You know, the one eye and the dark purple really sets him off as being very villainous, and just a brilliant design. You know, whatever Japanese designer came up with Shockwave, the original toy, 30-odd years ago in the pre-Transformers days. For a long time, I really wanted, you know, I don't want to say the definitive Shockwave, but maybe the definitive toy Shockwave, like that I pick up and I think, yeah, this is definitely Shockwave. They did the Shock Blast figure for Transformers Energon back in around 2004. They did the movie figure. They did another Generations figure earlier this year for the video game series. But even though this one is intended to be Shockwave for the new cartoon series for Transformers Prime, he's really, you know, Shockwave to me right now. I'm just putting him in the displays with my Generations, with my G1 style figures. I think he's the perfect median, and a lot of that credit goes to the designers of the cartoon series. That you know, he's a solid traditional design. He's got just enough new elements to make him interesting, and you know, but completely meets all the obligations of being classic Shockwave. If Hasbro never does a Generations or a G1 classic style Shockwave, I've got this and I'm completely happy with it. A great looking and a tremendously fun toy, and I can't recommend it enough. If you look around right now, you can get it for about $20 at any mass market retailer. They've got them at Walmart right now still, so get them while you can, because the Transformers Prime brand is not going to last, and Shockwave is one you don't want to miss. He did come with some funny rubberized monster accessories, like some Predacon type parts that you can snap onto him, and they're okay, but just not something I'm ever going to have on mine. So Shockwave, number 1. Great Transformer.
Alright, so now it comes down to the very hardest part of all, which was coming up with my number 1 favorite action figure of the year. But in my heart of hearts, I knew that it could only be one. We've already talked about how awesome NECA has been this year. In 2013, they really blossomed in terms of their Predator line and how great that's been. But there was one figure in the Predator line that I think, personally, really demonstrated just how incredibly capable they were in all areas. Sculpting, paintwork, accessories, tremendous detail, and that figure was the Jungle Disguise Dutch. Now, as you can see, this figure is no slouch when it comes to detail. This is some incredible detailing work with the mud. This is, of course, from the classic scene in the movie where Dutch figures out that the Predator, spoiler alert, can't detect him as long as his body is covered with the mud, since the Predator works on heat. As you can see, the detail is so incredible. Through all the mud and all the extra sculpting, you can still tell clearly that it's Schwarzenegger. Completely iconic. They've sculpted in like some leaves and some bits of mud all over the body. Even on the pants, they've even faded the paint to where down here, maybe you can see a little bit of the camo, and they actually went to the trouble and not just painted them all brown, as if they were completely covered by mud. Absolutely amazing. Even on the backs of the arms, you can see where some of the flesh tone shows through more than other places. The mud isn't evenly applied, and if you look really closely, you can even see that Schwarzenegger has the bloody lip, like he did at that section of the film. Now, one of the big reasons that this figure got pushed to the very top of the heap is the amount of insane accessories that he comes with. One of my favorites is the torch. It seems like a simple thing at first, but if you look, this is just so well done. It's got some translucent orange plastic for the fire. Really great effect. He holds it really well, and that he can get up and do the Tarzan yell like he does at the end of the movie. Incredible accessory. Love it. One of the other great ones is this awesome kind of harpoon that he engineers, this kind of staff, where he's got his knife tied to the end of this stick that he's found in the woods. Really nice, great detail. And this is the very most impressive one. It's the bow and arrow. And I have all the arrows that he came with, which is 3 of them, and they're all, they've got different stuff on them and everything. I've got them kind of tied on there, but oh my goodness, this thing, you can put it right around the chest. It's got an elastic band, and I mean, he's ready for action. You can take each individual arrow out. This is just incredible. This figure, I mean, it's something else when you buy a figure for $20 and you feel like you've somehow cheated the company out of something. And this was it. I mean, my goodness. I couldn't have asked for a more awesome figure in 2013. My number 1 pick for 2013, Jungle Disguise Dutch.
And my absolute number 1 pick for best action figure of 2013 is, without a doubt, it's simple, it's easy. It's this. Beware the Batman premium figure from a McDonald's Happy Meal.
Thank God.
I mean, just look at it. No,
look at it.
You know. Unfortunately, we're shooting at Jared's house right now, and my pick for number 1 is at my house, so I can't show it to you. Hopefully, I'll get some footage and cut it in. But my number 1 pick is definitely the Horde Trooper 2-pack from Masters of the Universe Classics. My favorite subset of characters by far from Masters of the Universe is the Evil Horde. That comes from, like I mentioned about Shockwave. My brother's about 8 years older than I am, and he had lots of Master stuff, and he was buying them apparently at the time when the Horde were the main villains, so I had Hordak and Grizzlor and Leech and Dragstore to play with when I was a kid as hand-me-downs, and so that made the Horde you know, really stick with me. So they're still my favorite part of the brand, and I've been waiting for these Horde Troopers for a long time. You know, we got Hordak back in year 1, back in 2009. First full year of the figures, and the Horde Troopers we were hoping would come sooner rather than later, but I'm glad they waited because I don't think they would have been nearly this good. You get 2 of them, of course. There's some slight variations. One of them has more like scorch marks from laser fire and things, but they're just fantastic examples of the Masters of the Universe classic style of making figures. You know, they're a basic body with these rubber coverings, and they cover, the original figures had this split apart action, and you can take off their outer vests, and they've got the mechanical workings underneath. They come with just a tremendous amount, a treasure trove, if you will, of excellent accessories. You get their guns, their shields, the staffs are my favorite. I'm so glad to have 2. You can pose them standing as guards for Hordak. I'd like setting them up like the Royal Guards from Return of the Jedi, the guarding the Emperor. Just the most fun I had playing with any toys this year, or when I got that 2-pack in the mail. Just an absolute knockout. If Masters of the Universe Classics is on the other side of the hill, if it's going down right now, and I don't think it's got more than a couple years left in it, you know, this may be like the last great highlight item that we ever get as far as figures go. The real last highlight item we'll be talking about a little bit later. But that is my number 1 pick action figure for 2013, the Horde Trooper from Masters of the Universe Classics.
You know, a great toy line is nothing if it just has great figures. We really need some great vehicles and some great playsets. And for the Batman 66 toy line that Mattel did this year, we had a few misses with some of the basic figures. You know, maybe some of those didn't turn out as well as we'd all hoped. Some of them turned out great, though.
Yeah. One of the big culprits for that line is quality control. You know, we had a lot of problems with the paint and you know, joints breaking inappropriately. But the one part of the line that we can't complain about at all is, of course,
the 66 Batmobile. It was just a wonderful recreation in that 6-inch scale that we all wanted. It had all the details that we were all after. A lot of people disagreed with us in our review and complained a lot about the price and things like that. And of course, it was pretty pricey. You know, you would pay $50 or $60 for it, depending on where you bought the thing. But we need to keep in mind this was a limited item. Sure, it didn't have any kind of lights or sounds features, but those have never impressed me and probably never will. I was just looking for a really nice replica of the 66 Batmobile that the figures could fit into and had all the appropriate details. We got everything from an accurate license plate to the phone, to the
Yeah,
seat belts.
dashboard done
The dashboard was done very well. I didn't find anything to complain about, and I definitely think it's the best vehicle that 2013 gave us.
Absolutely, without a doubt. You know, as we were talking about earlier, and you know, I didn't buy a lot of vehicles in 2013. I can think of just a handful, but the Batmobile is the clear-cut winner. I mean, and I'm aware of the other things that came out, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt, it is the #1 pick. If you'd like a better look at that Batmobile, we did an in-depth review back late in the summer this year, and we'll put a link to it somewhere in here. So check that out if you want to get a better look at this terrific toy. Well, one of the hallmarks of toy lines has always been, if your line is big enough or successful enough, will you get that all-coveted playset. The playsets are, let's face it, in the modern toy spectrum, they are a dying art. Very rarely do we get playsets. Last year, we were blessed, if you will, with the new Secret Sewer Layer for the Ninja Turtles line. The biggest and most impressive playset we've gotten in a very, very long time. You know, harken back to the days of old like nothing we'd seen in a very long time. This year, we were blessed again, yet again, with the monumental and fantastic Castle Grayskull from Masters of the Universe Classics. You know, we were placing bets from day one. When are we going to get it? Are we going to get it? There were times when I wasn't sure. I would think, you know, the line seems to be declining. I don't know if we're going to get a Castle Grayskull or not. You know, maybe that box from SDCC 2008 is as close as we're ever going to get. But, you know, we remained faithful. I remained a loyal buyer, and we were rewarded handsomely with this beauty.
Castle Grayskull is, as many of you all know, and a lot of our older viewers will know, the epitome of everything that a playset should be for action figures. Before Castle Grayskull, the concept of an action figure playset was sort of a bare minimum type of deal.
Yeah.
What you get with an action figure playset is usually something made of cardboard, supported by some plastic framework.
Yeah, a vinyl cover and covering cardboard.
Very, very plain. Really akin more to the Mego types of playsets that we saw, like the
dollhouses is what we were getting for action figures before. Even things like the early Star Wars playsets were a plastic base or supports with cardboard, you know, backing them. Castle Grayskull is the standard for what a playset is. It impacted. I have no doubt that it influenced the design of the Turtle Sewer Layer from the vintage line from the late '80s. Certainly had an impact on the Batman compound playset, the Wayne Manor compound, which is one of our absolute favorites. Something we played with all the time as a kid. So, you know, you can't underestimate...
I still play with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have 2 versions. You cannot underestimate the importance of Castle Grayskull, and to see this beautiful recreation is joyous. I mean, you know, just... if I have a vote, you know, forget action figures or vehicles, or just playsets, if I have a vote for best toy of the year, it's definitely Castle Grayskull.
Absolutely, I agree with that wholeheartedly. If you've got just one item that you need to own this year in terms of a collector's item, Castle Grayskull is it. It's still available right now.
Yeah, as of right now.
I don't know
if you
when you watch
this
if it will be, but if you don't, you're going to regret it for a long time.
And it is very pricey, unless you are a real toy collector who is willing to sink substantial amounts of money into your hobby. I don't know if I can say that about us per se. I mean, obviously we spend more money than the vast majority of people, but you know, we're not buying hot toys. Castle Grayskull, regardless of the price, is something that we had to buy, no matter what.
A collection essential. And for so many of you all out there, the Castle Grayskull defines your childhood, defines your toy collection. I think that you'll absolutely know what we're talking about when we say, you know, this is just probably something that should be in your collection. Sell a kidney or whatever you have to do.
Yeah, whatever.
You know, it's well worth the price of admission. As you can see, we've got a selection of some of our favorite trends of 2013 here in Castle Grayskull. We got everything from Sailor Moon, Figure Arts, to
the Turtles, NECA stuff, Iron Man 3,
and
Power Rangers. Here's the terrific neck snapping scene from Man of Steel.
Superman, you know, snapping General Zod's neck. I'm in support of it.
He-Man's okay with it, clearly, because it's going on in Castle Grayskull.
He-Man's alright.
If he says it's okay, it can't be wrong. But Castle Grayskull meets all the playset tropes, and if you're familiar with vintage Castle Grayskull, you're going to know it. It's got the trapdoor, it's got the jail, it's got the gun turret for your hero. You know, the perfect balance of old and new elements.
We could go on with a bigger review about Castle Grayskull, but there's a million of them out there. I mean,
if you want a good, definitive, in-depth look at Castle Grayskull, check out Pixel Dan's review. I think it's about 40 minutes long. I watched it. It's great. If you need more convincing, go check that out.
Yeah.
And I guarantee
Pixel Dan does a great job with all of his Masters of the Universe Classics reviews.
That's why we never touch Masters of the Universe Classics.
Yeah, because he's got
the reviews are done.
Thanks, Dan. We love it.
Certainly for toys as well as for ourselves, it's been an up and down year. We've not been in front of the camera as much as we wanted to. Didn't get to as much as we did last year. I think we hit a lot of the highlights of the year with our product reviews, and certainly are hoping to do more next year. But we hope you've enjoyed our look back at the toys of 2013. It's been a lot of fun, regardless of any issues. It's always fun. This hobby's not about, we get stressed out about it, which we shouldn't do. There's much more important and significant things to get stressed out about. But it's about having fun. So we always try to have fun doing it. Like I said, we never try to dwell on the negatives. We want to stay positive about it, and it's been enjoyable.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a really great 2014. The best thing we can do is just stay positive about it. Hope for the best with all of our favorite brands. Hope the economy, stays in upswing for a lot of people. That they'll actually have extra money so that they can buy things they enjoy and add some enjoyment, some fun to their lives. I hope everything turns out great for you all. I pray that you all are very blessed in your own personal lives. And until next time, guys, it's been a pleasure. This is Jared.
A pleasure as always. This has been Brandon.
Take care, guys. God bless.